Well, this doesn't look like the road for me up ahead there. Not on this bike. The Ferry terminal. So what am I doing this week? I'm going camping. What's that? Camping on a motorcycle in the winter time in Canada? I think some people might think I'm crazy. No, I'm pretty excited. I'm going to the Southern Gulf Islands. And I'm excited because it's the first trip of the year. Yeah, I got a reservation.
Okay, perfect. Number 6 or number 7.
Okay,
yeah,
thanks.
Yeah, have a good one.
Hi there. I'm going to Salt Spring Island. Yes. So all they do on these ferries is they ask you to put a block on the other side of the kickstand, so just in case it gets rocking and rolling, it doesn't tip over. So here I am getting the week started on one of the BC ferries. It goes to the Southern Gulf Islands. So the first stop that I picked to go today is Salt Spring Island. What I did is I phoned ahead, and all the provincial campgrounds are open and they're all welcoming visitors. So I checked everything out and decided the week looks pretty good. Time to go and test out the camping site. Well, there's where we're heading to. The dock at Salt Spring Island. So we're just getting into Salt Spring Island here, and it was a bit of a milk run to get here from Vancouver, because you got to stop at Galiano Island, then Main Island, then Pender Island, and then to Salt Spring. So some of the vehicles that got on at the other stops, they had to drive onto the ferry, and as you can see by that white truck, they have to back off the ferry to get on land here. It's a little bit awkward, but that's how you have to do it with the small islands here. A 3-hour ferry ride with those different stops, but we're here now. It's such a nice day out, I decided to go look at Mount Maxwell Regional Park first. It's not the tallest peak on Salt Spring Island. I think it's Bruce Mountain if I remember right. But I believe this one is a pretty easy hike to get to. the viewpoint up there. And since it's already about 2 in the afternoon here, I figured I'd go do something like this first. Looks like the road is deteriorating here, and it might not be good for this bike. It looks like it's pretty muddy, and there was a lot of rain, I know, yesterday. And then the sign says high clearance 4x4, so I'm not sure. Let's go take a look. Up there on this trip. So there's the peak of Mount Maxwell, and that's the one I was trying to get to. And it was years ago that Lucinda and I went up there, and we went up for a hike one day. And the views were just gorgeous, especially on a day like today. So, since I can't get up there, I might just try and dig up an old photograph so you can see what it looks like. Well, something for another day. So I'm taking a road off to the south end of Salt Spring Island now. So what I know about Salt Spring Island, it's got a real different vibe when you get on here. And Salt Spring Island is known for having a lot of artists, musicians, painters, and it's because of the vibe here. It's such a relaxed, laid-back atmosphere. You don't find any chain stores or anything like that. But I couldn't find very much history about the First Nations. Of course, they were here first, as most of BC. And I believe it's the Salish First Nations that were here. But in modern history, the European settlers first came here in 1858. And at that time, it was the colony of Vancouver Islands. Now, I'm kind of reciting this all by memory, so my memory's good, but it's pretty short. So if I get anything wrong, I'll just correct it in text. In 1858, this is the first island in the Gulf Islands that was actually settled by European settlers. And there was a different program they had at the time that you could settle the land, and if you settle it to farm it, you didn't have to pay for it until you got your farm established and operating. And then once you did, you had to pay $1 an acre for it. So it was a little bit of an incentive to get something started here. And right at that time, in 1858, I guess California passed some new laws or whatever it was. It was like discriminatory to African Americans. So there was a number of African American families from California that ended up coming up here, and they talked to the governor of the colony of BC at the time and asked him if it would be okay for them to settle up here, and were they going to run into any kind of issues like in California. And he said there was no problem here. Those laws changed 20 years before that. In the 1850s and 60s, it turned out to be a large group of African Americans and Hawaiians and European settlers that ended up starting all the farms around here. At that time, it was renamed, and the First Nations had a name for the island. But I can't find anywhere where that was, and maybe I'm not looking in the right place. But when it was renamed by the European settlers, I found two different accounts. One calls it Admiral Island, and one calls it Admiralty Island. So from 1859, that's the name of the place here, until 1910, when it was formally changed to Salt Spring Island. That whole period between 1860 and 1910, it was kind of known as Salt Spring Island anyhow, because there's a natural spring on the north end of the island that's a salt spring. So in 1910, they formally changed the name because everybody was calling it that anyways. And then the other growth spurt they had around here was in 1960s, when the Vietnam War was going on. I guess you call them draft dodgers, or there's some other names, but there was a whole bunch of people that came up and settled this area at that time also. So with that kind of history, you can imagine there's a real different kind of feeling and vibe around here. And it's such a casual, awesome place to be. The roads are just unbelievable. They're so good for motorcycles. I just love cruising these roads here. So I think at the end of this road, it's called Isabella Point, and I think it's the south end of the island. We're back to gravel, but this is much better here. It's right near sea level, so it wasn't as slick as the other one was once you got up to an elevation. Like I was saying before, there's a lot of artists and musicians and poets and writers and painters all over this island, and when you ride around the island, you can see signs of artisans all over the place. And there's some real famous people that have ended up here also, but I'm not going to do some name dropping because, you know, I don't know how private they want to be. Really not sure where I'm going here, but I guess we're out to discover a few things. Oh, I guess that's the end of that road. Yeah, when you can see on the map here, I guess that's it. Well, let's go back and see if we can find that turnoff. I think it's called Mountain Road. So now we're on Musgrave Road. So along this road, I believe is the trailhead for the hike that takes you up to Bruce Peak. To see if I can locate it. And like I say, tomorrow morning, if it looks good, maybe that's something to get up top to that peak for a viewpoint. Well, it looks like the same thing here. Well, we'll go on it for a little bit and we'll see what it looks like. Well, here's where we ended up. I'm gonna just go take a look at that marker and we'll see where we're at here. I have a feeling that's somebody's personal residence. I have a feeling. Well, this doesn't look like the road for me up ahead there. Not on this bike. So let's go try another road. I just finished setting up camp here, and I'm pretty happy about that because it's the first camping trip of the year. Anyhow, it's just time to relax and get ready for tomorrow. And tomorrow I'm going to try and do a couple other roads here on Salt Spring Island. Anyhow, you go camping this time of year and you can sure social distance pretty good by yourself. Anyhow, it's time to get some food going and getting the fire going and figure out some way of staying warm tonight. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed this video. The next one tomorrow, I'll tour around Salt Spring Island a little bit and we'll see what we can find tomorrow. See you on the next video. Well, here's to the end of another good day.